Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 31 of the Nope Coach podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg. This episode I'm excited to record because it was via request. So if you are not yet on my email list, if you go over to my website, suzannekohlberg.com, SUZANNECULBERG, click on newsletter, pop your details in there to be on my list. My list is amazing. My emails are fun. They're unique content, not just copy paste what I send elsewhere. And I often ask for ideas for the show. And this one came in via request. And basically, the person asked me, could I talk to or could I speak to? How do you know when you're avoiding an action that isn't right for you versus honoring yourself and not doing something that's not right? So the context they gave is they've been working with a coach who had been making suggestions, and she was like, I'd rather die inside than do this. So it feels like this just isn't the right approach for me. And the coach was saying, oh no, you're just in avoidance. You're just in self-sabotage. And I think this is an excellent question. It's an excellent thing to consider for whatever it is you're trying to create, because we hire coaches. I am a coach. I have my own coach, my own coaches that I work with. We hire coaches to point out our blind spots to us, to, help us overcome our self-sabotage, to help us along our journey. But sometimes it truly is like that strategy, that thing that they're suggesting, we're not in self-sabotage, we're not avoiding, it's just not the right fit. And it's working out, is that coach, is that person, is that, as well-meaning as they are, meeting us where we're at? Or are we like butting heads? And often, if it is in our blind spot, or if we are in true resistance, we can't see it. So how do we have these clear conversations? So the first thing I would consider is, do you feel heard by the person? So someone says, I suggest that you do, this strategy in business. And your initial response to that is, oh, like, no. And then they're like, oh no, you're just in self-sabotage. You're just in resistance. Is it something that you would like to be on the receiving end of? So say for me personally, I cannot stand in any way, shape or form DMs, like direct messages. They are not my jam. I love email, and this is where it can be kind of weird, but I don't like direct message. So if I don't like to receive direct messages from people, why would I want to do it as a strategy? It does not feel good for me. If it feels good for you and you love it, see, that's the thing. Some people I know love, they conduct their entire business in the DMs. They love being DM'd. They love DMing people. They're like, social networking, Suzanne, is for being social. For me, I like it in the comments. And it's a personal choice, because if 10, 15 people DM me and I give them the exact same response, it seems like to me a lot of overwork, rework, having the same conversation over and over again. Whereas if it was on a public post, then everybody could benefit and actually engage and connect in the comments themselves. I prefer that. So it's a matter of, am I avoiding, or is this thing not right for me? The first thing I would look at is it something that, how would you feel to be on the receiving end of that? Another one is like cold calling. Some people make their entire business through cold calling. If you're watching this on the video, you can see my face, but I don't know if it's coming through in my voice, but cold calling makes the introvert inside me want to die. No. But sometimes it might be something that you say enjoy, but you're resistant to. So this is a podcast. I love podcasting as a listener. I've wanted my own podcast for years, since I've really heard my first one back in 2015, 2016. But I was resistant for many years because I wasn't a confident speaker. I wasn't a confident interviewer. I was like, oh, what if I'm rambling? What if I'm not coherent? What if this? The way I got to be better at podcasting was by podcasting. I listened back to some of my very early interviews, 2016, 2017. Like originally I was a guest for many, many, many episodes before I became a host. Some of them are really quite bad. Like, there's just no way around it. They were pretty bad. But the way I got good was by doing the bad things first. You can't get good at what you don't do. And I have very little doubt that I'll look back at these episodes in 1, 2, 3, 5 years and be like, oh my goodness, they were so bad. But for where you're at, that's how you get better. And they are helping somebody. As long as you're helping somebody, you're meeting somebody, you're giving somebody the inspiration. Like hopefully these episodes are giving at least one person the inspiration to follow their dreams, to have a crack, to have a go, to get started. Then my work here is done. So the first thing, are you avoiding or is it just not right for you? How would you feel to be on the receiving end of this? The second thing is it's hard to quantify, but I'd say like the gut check. So for me, if I'm really honest, I can feel like this twinge in my gut where it's like, yeah, no, I'm avoiding something. So it could be when it comes to say like movement, say exercise, say you're seeing a personal trainer, I used to be one of those, or somebody who's coaching you through you're getting fit, and they're like, you should run. Like my gut is like, hell's no. My knees and my body is like, hell's no. I'm not in avoidance. That is not the right strategy for me. But if you were like, okay, let's work through, some walking or some yoga or some stretching, I feel in my body, like, yes, my body is on board. But then my head starts oh, it's too cold today. Oh, I've got a little tickle in my throat. That is the avoiding. So the not right feels different in my body. Like the idea of running or doing CrossFit or something like that, I have a literal physical, visceral body response to. And the idea of walking and stretching and gentle movement, the body says yes, but then the mind is like, oh, not today. So, what is your version of that? How does the suggested thing feel in your body versus the head coming up with the reasons or the excuses? So to summarize, point number 2, if you are working with your coach or your personal trainer or the person that you're working with, and you come up with a strategy and you're both on board, and in the session, you're like, yeah, that sounds really good. And you don't have any gut check and you say, yep, I'm going to do that. And then between then and the next session, when you're going to work with them again, you notice, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, I had a scratch in my throat. Oh, I couldn't find the time. That is when it'd be like, perhaps this is avoiding. Because in the moment that we discussed it, we planned it, we scheduled it, we worked it out, I was all for this. But once I got off the call, I was like, yeah, nah, we're leaning into avoidance territory. And then finally, the final thing to explore, sometimes when we're going into avoidance, is the thing that you're going to do, is the action you're going to take aligning with the goal that you truly desire? Because sometimes the reason that we avoid things is because on some level we don't want that. So a personal example, before I did podcasting, I decided I was going to blog. So I was like, I'm going to write a daily blog. I did it for about 3 weeks, maybe 4. I think I got to day 27, so not quite short of 4 weeks of daily blogging. And I just did not enjoy the process. The idea in my head, daily blogging, SEO, thing of my work, all this sort of stuff sounded great. But in the practicality of doing it on the day-to-day, I didn't enjoy writing that much, she says, being the author of her book. But I didn't enjoy it in its entirety. I gave it a go. I gave it a crack. And it wasn't that I was avoiding it, or I did start avoiding it because the strategy itself was not right. And now I'm recording a podcast. I prefer the speaking medium. I actually find it easier than the written medium because I don't edit. So one take, no fake. There's no jingles or shows or all this sort of stuff. I literally hit record and off I go. And this feels good for me. So sometimes it might be like the avoidance comes as a result of the thing that you're trying to do not being right for you. And if that's the case, if you did it, if you gave it a go, if you had a crack and you realized, hey, this isn't for me, instead of beating yourself up and getting down on yourself, this is a good thing. By me realizing, hey, blogging, especially daily blogging, but blogging at all as a medium, as a way to get my work out there, doesn't feel in alignment with me, I'm not going to continue doing it. It opened up for, oh, what about podcasting? So if you're trying something and it's showing actually this isn't right, it's a good thing, because then you can tick that off your list and be open to find, what was it I was looking to do? What parts of this feel aligned for me? And is there another medium, another strategy, another way that I can achieve this or reach this goal that I hadn't first thought of? So I hope that's been helpful. I really, only you know for you whether it is avoidance or whether it's not the right strategy for you. And having this really clear and open communication with whoever it is you're working with, your coach, your trainer, and whatever. And having a go and then realizing, actually, as a result of this, I have had these new insights, and sharing those new insights with the person you're working with really opens you up for true change and reaching the goal that you really desire. So thanks for listening. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye for now.